This week in Jamaica Now.
It is on a sad note that we announce our first death.
COVID alarm. Jamaica records first death from the coronavirus as cases continue to climb. 2 communities are now under quarantine. Thousands laid off as hotels close. Cash grants coming for people out of a job because of the virus. Elephant man under probe for making false declaration to an immigration officer. The Prime Minister weighs in.
Refusing to abide by quarantine rules makes you a weak fence.
Person of interest in the disappearance of visually impaired UWI student now in police custody. And so too is a woman who was with businessman Roger Chang before he was murdered. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. The authorities are ramping up measures in Jamaica to tackle the coronavirus COVID-19. Up to late Friday, Jamaica had recorded 19 cases with 1 fatality. Government officials providing an update on Friday encouraged Jamaicans to take every precaution to remain safe.
To date, we have tested some 89 cases at the National Influenza Center based on the clinical the symptoms. 19 would have tested positive, 70 tested negative, which approximate to about 20% or just under 20%. We are waiting results for an additional 10 cases.
With effect from 11:59 p.m. on Saturday, March 21, 2020, and for a period of 14 days in the first instance, Jamaica's air and seaports will be closed to incoming passenger traffic, outgoing passenger and cargo. Outgoing passenger and cargo will be allowed.
In the meantime, the communities of 7 and 8 miles in Bull Bay, St. Andrew, as well as Cornpeace in Clarendon are now under quarantine. Patient 1, the first case of coronavirus in Jamaica, was staying in Bull Bay after she arrived in Jamaica from the United Kingdom. And the 79-year-old man who died from COVID complications on Wednesday had been staying in Cornpeace after arriving in Jamaica from New York last week. Meanwhile, thousands of Jamaicans are now out of a job as the economic impact associated with the virus worsens. Prime Minister Andrew Holness had ordered that all non-essential workers should work from home until next week Wednesday. But with tourism virtually drying up, more than 1,000 Rio Hotel workers have been sent home. 3 Royalton Negril properties have also shuttered, moving all their guests to the Trelawney Resorts, Royalton White Sands and Royalton Blue Waters. And the Prime Minister says Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark will next week outline the details of a program to provide cash grants to people who lose their jobs because of the coronavirus. In the meantime, dancehall entertainer Elephant Man is now in trouble after allegedly failing to declare to immigration authorities that he visited Germany. Germany is one of the countries on Jamaica's restricted list. This means that no German will be granted permission to land in Jamaica, and Jamaicans returning home must be quarantined for 14 days. But in a voice note, a woman who identified herself as Immigration Officer Crystal Hall said Elephant Man did not declare Germany as one of the places he recently visited.
Bear in mind, these are persons that are coming from high-risk countries who potentially are or were exposed to the virus. And because of brutish force and loudness, they are gone to them yards. Bear in mind, these are all performers, so-called entertainers, who more than likely going to be mixing up amongst the general population.
Elephant Man has since apologized.
I really sincerely apologize to the staff at the Sangsters International Airport and the Minister of Health and the people of Jamaica. I also want to apologize for any misunderstanding in the way I incorrectly completed the form.
But that has not halted a criminal probe against Elephant Man for making a false declaration to an immigration officer. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Thursday criticized people for breaching the quarantine order.
People who should know better, people who are influencers, they should be the first to lead. Instead, they are being weak fences in the community effort to contain and slow the spread of the coronavirus.
And additional measures have been implemented at parish courts due to COVID-19. All sittings or hearings have been suspended from Monday, March 23, 2020 until April 20, 2020. save and except for matters deemed by the judge to be fit for hearing during this period.
Now, information concerning matters which were to be heard during the period March 23 to April 17, 2020 will be published at the courts in the printed press, and the information will be made available on our websites. Importantly, I want us to know, and I want members of the public to know, that matters in relation to domestic violence, maintenance, collection, and payments, breaches of the Quarantine Act, and certain matters involving children will always be treated as emergency matters during the period of suspension.
And Governor General Sir Patrick Allen has issued a proclamation declaring 2 days of prayer and fasting for Jamaica as the country fights the coronavirus. Prayers and fasting should be observed between 6 p.m. on Friday, March 20 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, March 22. During the period, prayers should be focusing on containment and elimination of COVID-19, healing for those infected, a cure for the disease, the poor, needy, elderly, and vulnerable in society, as well as the security forces. In other news, the person of interest in the disappearance of visually impaired University of the West Indies student Jasmine Deen is now in police custody. The police say he was held by cops from the St. Andrews Central Police Division on Thursday night. He is now being processed. Deen was last seen on Thursday, February 27 in Papine, St. Andrew, wearing a white blouse and blue jeans. Police analysis of her cell phone showed that it moved from Papine to Bull Bay, then to Harborview, and then to downtown Kingston. All those movements happened between 10 p.m. on February 27 and 12:30 a.m. the following day. The police released this picture of the person of interest after investigations revealed that he used Jasmine's ATM card during the period when she was reported missing. And the woman who was identified as the person of interest in the murder of businessman Roger Chang has surrendered to the police. Khadija Mackenzie, otherwise called Dee Dee, is from a St. Andrew address. On Thursday, she turned herself into detectives assigned to the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch in St. Elizabeth. Businessman Roger Chang was reported missing by relatives on Sunday, March 15. That same day, his body with several stab wounds was found on the shoreline near the St. Mary, Portland border. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, how one Cornpeace Clarendon resident is protecting herself against the coronavirus.
Talk to me about that.
Garlic, ginger with lime juice blend together. And me take a teaspoon a day. And me take me vitamin C and me vitamin E. Use alcohol and me use sanitizer and me have me wipes. Miss. And me have me dust mask too. And me have me gloves too. So me well secure.
Let me see.
And me wash my hand every minute. Miss have me more me down me yard here. As me touch all the back here, me don't go down, me wash my hand with soap and water. I leave out here Saturday, go me and I come back in. This girl fix up gears up and there and go and come back. Carry this when you have the spray pan till. And me carry this and me carry this. So me hold a carry down, me wipe and spray. This is what me carry and this is me make a mix up and this is where me put over my face.